again, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. Okay. So there's been a big announcement. I say big announcement because it's something I'm looking forward to. Most other people may not think it's that big, but if you're a fan, you're going to enjoy this. There's going to be a new sequel movie or sequel series, possibly not series, but a couple of films possibly that are coming out or in pre-production right now. Check this out.
We shot it in the summer of 2001. And they had cameras all over the place, but they were these domestic cameras with the little. Do you remember the ones with the little tiny little cartridges? It was before HD or anything like that. DV, the good old days of DV. It's a brilliant script by Alex Garden. You know, where you put an ordinary man in these extraordinary situations, how do you react? That's why I think why people identify with the movie, because it was like a reimagining of the zombie genre, but also a kind of an examination of what would one do in that sort of scenario, and it's fight or flight thing.
So that was Cillian Murphy talking about 28 Days Later that came out, like he said, in 2001. They have announced that they are looking at doing 28 years later, and they've got a deal landed with Sony. So I'm excited about that because in my humble yet accurate opinion, 28 Days Later is one of the grittiest, dirtiest, ugliest, realistic, exciting, heart-pumping zombie films that we've ever had. And I'll get into some of the other ones that I think are top-notch, and there are, you know, the generics out there and everything like that. I really do think that 28 Days Later was potentially responsible for relaunching and updating that zombie genre. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, let's check out this article from The Hollywood Reporter. Zombie sequel 28 years later lands at Sony exclusively. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are behind the long gestating 28 Days Later sequel, which could launch a trilogy of zombie films and may return Cillian Murphy to his breakout role. So you got the original writer and director involved. Not only that, I'm excited because there's more. 28 years later, the hot package from director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland has landed at Sony. The Culver City-based studio has come out on top after a protracted bidding war to win the rights to the sequel package to the 2002 horror classic 28 Days Later. Director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland have reunited to write and direct the sequel, which also comes with a part 2 to be written by Garland. Boyle would only direct the first project, with the sequel's director to be determined at a later stage. I'm okay with doing it. I'm a filmmaker. I'll take that on. Cillian Murphy, whose career was launched thanks to the original movie, is also returning as an executive producer, so he's going to be involved too. Danny Boyle makes awesome films. Cillian Murphy, awesome actor. Can't wait to see what they do. Of course, the Oppenheimer star could also possibly act in the project, although details are being quarantined. I'm just a little giddy. I'm a little excited, and I'm sorry. But I absolutely love 28 Days Later. 28 Weeks Later was pretty good too. I'm not going to knock it at all. But I'm a huge 28 Days Later fan. Top 3 zombie movies. In my humble yet accurate opinion, hey buddy, you heard zombie, they're okay. They ain't gonna get you. Top 3 zombie movies in my humble yet accurate opinion are George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. I think we owe so much to George Romero for really creating the zombies that we know today, from any iteration from way back in the day. George Romero's Night of the Living Dead by far relaunched that genre and made it significantly more interesting. And before the virtual signaling was such a big deal, I will make it a point that he wanted his protagonist to be a black man. And at that time, it was not the biggest thing in the world to have a black lead or black protagonist, especially in a horror film. But he really, really pushed for that. He got it. Amazing film. It was groundbreaking. Love it. George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Another one, Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, which is a remake of George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, which was also awesome. George Romero's Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorites as well, but I don't think it's as revolutionary, obviously, as Night of the Living Dead. And then Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead really brought these zombies an updated look, an updated feel, and we'll get into that in a minute as to where the influences may have come from. But man, what an awesome film, and probably one of Zack Snyder's better films, to be honest. I like some of his stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of some of his other stuff, but Dawn of the Dead was absolutely fantastic. And of course, Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later. And I say Danny Boyle's, Alex Garland wrote on it. Cillian Murphy did a fantastic job in acting on it. And I actually have my old camera still that I shot my very first short film with, was a mini DV camera with a little DV tape. And those things are fun to play with. I still have the camera. I still have the little tapes. And man, what a terrible quality image. But it really put you right there in it, and it really made you feel like this could happen, and this is what it would be like. It's not pretty, it's not high production with sets and everything. No, it's in your face now. So if you have not seen 28 Days Later, as soon as this video ends, you need to find it on whatever streaming platform and watch it. 28 Days Later should be required for anyone who's interested in the zombie genre at all. And I think overall just required, because good Lord, such a good movie. Sorry, I'm a big fan. All right. So a couple of fun facts that I found. 28 Days Later released in 2002. The Walking Dead, not the show, but the comics, which the show is based off of. The Walking Dead comics began publication in 2003. Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead was released in 2004. So you can't say that one influenced the other necessarily, because I think some of the filmmakers or the authors of the comic books can say, oh no, we didn't know anything about the other. But it's odd to me that 28 Days Later came out with this whole brand new running, aggressive, crazy zombie, and then all these other films and series picked up on it and started using the same kind of stuff for a lot of their zombies, or even with The Walking Dead, not necessarily running fast or anything, but just, it's a whole different level of the zombie that we're seeing. And of course, The Walking Dead opens very, very similarly to the opening of 28 Days Later. So that's just an observation I made, a little fun fact on finding out when everything came out. And maybe it's interesting to you, maybe it's not, but I definitely recommend seeing 28 Days Later. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.